DCFNE is a community-based nonprofit that serves victims of sexual assault and domestic violence, including adults and adolescents from all 8 wards of the district. With support from OVSJG, our forensic nursing response has remained fully operational and uninterrupted for more than a decade. When someone in our city experiences sexual assault or domestic violence, we offer compassionate and trauma-informed services free of charge within an hour of presenting to the hospital. We have responded to more than 7,300 victims who have sought our care since our inception. As a sole provider of medical forensic care for adults in the district, DCFNE is essential to ensuring that victims' rights are upheld under SAVRA, which guarantees the right to access a medical forensic exam after a sexual assault. Having recently celebrated my 10-year anniversary with DCFNE, I've witnessed numerous changes in our organization. I want to briefly discuss some of these observations as they contribute to DCFNE's ability to serve victims of crime and provide context to DCFNE's FY25 budget needs. First, forensic nursing requires a level of advanced training that is not taught in nursing school. Thus, becoming a forensic nurse requires many hours of hands-on clinical training, resulting in a significant upfront investment for every nurse we onboard. This comprehensive training is necessary to ensure the expertise of our staff and is also shown to reduce turnover. The reality is that even with the most holistic onboarding process, forensic nurses experience high levels of burnout and vicarious trauma and typically remain in the field for only 2 years. I've sat with many departing nurses as they've agonized over the decision to leave DCFNE. Many nurses cited compensation and benefits as a driving force behind the decision. DCFNE has implemented wage increases over the past several years in an attempt to keep pace with nursing industry standards and a higher than average cost of living in the district, but we are still behind the curve. It's imperative that DCFNE continues to adjust nursing salaries in order to provide not just a livable, but a competitive wage to retain our highly trained and experienced nurses. Chair Pinto, you have acknowledged the role we play in the district's public safety plan and the government's fundamental obligation to work with experts like us to keep the district's residents safe. We're concerned that the mayor's proposed budget includes funding sources that have already been spent, which leaves the victim services funding cut, not increased, by $2.7 million. DCFNE will not be able to sustain our 24/7 on-call response if our budget is reduced. We're here today urging the council to reverse the budget cuts and at a minimum maintain the current FY24 victim services funding levels. Thank you.